I would tell anyone who's about to re-enter into society that you have to have some goals set. I think while you're away and you have this time, that whole time frame should be spent planning what you're going to do when you get out. You got to see yourself living the life that you really want to live. My name is Minister Willie Brown. I'm a former chaplain in the Georgia Department of Corrections. I'm also a professional comedian ventriloquist, believe it or not. I was raised up north with a southern upbringing. My parents were decent people, but my father was an alcoholic. And he was a working alcoholic. He brought his money home and he was responsible, and we had a home, and he was a great man when he wasn't drinking. When he wasn't drinking, he was awesome. But when he drank, he was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It was frightening to wake up in the middle of the night and hear your parents screaming at each other. The two people that you love, and they're bickering and saying horrible things to one another. No child should have to deal with that. It's very traumatic. And I'm sure there's people's situations that were far worse than mine, but that was bad enough for me. But then, here years later, I grow up and I'm going down the same path to some degree, drinking too much and smoking marijuana and doing all that, going to college. But it's like the world we live in, and it seems like it's just so normal that people would do these things. But no, they told us when we were in elementary school and middle school, don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. They're gonna lead you to a bad end, And the truth is, nobody just ends up on crystal meth. You just don't end up, oh, give me that heroin, oh yeah, right now. No, you start out with the gateway drugs. You start out smoking cigarettes. You start out smoking a little weed. You start out drinking a little beer, right? And it continues to grow. And if you have an addiction, it's horrible because you can't even fight it. It's a spiritual warfare. Why do you think they call them spirits? Spirits. You pour this stuff into you, and then you have no defense over it. And it just sends you off on a road of destruction. You can't go around slippery people, slippery places, and slippery things. You can't go back. And I'm telling you, if you accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you're a new creation. Old things have passed away, all things are new. You got to have a psychic change, a spiritual change. And you got to get around people that, again, will hold you accountable. They're going to love you into righteousness. I'm not saying we're perfect all the time. I'm saying you're going to try to get around some better people. Because if you stay around people that are living right, you'll have a better opportunity to live right. I never saw myself actually working in the prisons, going in as a minister or a chaplain. It started from my volunteer work with my prison ministry team, Tabernacle of Praise, our church. We were going into the Jackson men's prison, and I was going in there pretty much every week, and Chaplain Miller, he asked me if I ever considered working in the prison, and I was like, as a chaplain, and I was like, to myself, I was like, nah. I didn't tell them that, but I was like, nah, I don't know if I want to work in a prison, But he said, well, you have the credentials, you said you got a master's degree, you got ministerial experience. That's the type of person that we're looking for. You said, you should really think about it. He said, you said you want to do ministry, right? He said, well, it's real ministry when you come into the prison. It really changed my life being in that situation as chaplain, meeting the volunteers. You hear the word iron sharpened iron. Well, yeah, I knew that I was serving and I knew that I had been giving, but my heart was stretched when I met these different ministries and people that would come from 2 and 3 hours away every single week to minister to these women. I was blown away. I was like, who are these people? It showed me what real church was about. There were no cameras, there were no lights, there was no collection. It was just straight, pure worship. The women, their hands outstretched toward the Lord, and me too, as a chaplain. They had their arms stretched out toward the Lord. I had my arms stretched out toward the Lord. They were shedding a tear of joy. I was shedding a tear of joy. it was just a life change. One of the key things I always try to impart to anybody who's getting ready to leave prison is you have to see yourself outside of this place. What do you see yourself doing? Where do you see yourself living? Where do you see yourself working? How do you see yourself behaving? Those are the things I try to implant in their minds and their hearts so that they could just kind of visualize it. There's so many great things you can do. There's so many awesome things that people who've come out of prison have been able to accomplish. They're doing all kinds of wonderful things. And the reason why you're able to do it is because you have the experience. You've been there. You know what it's like to be behind the gate. You know what it's like to feel intimidated at times and lonely and afraid. You know what it's like. So you can take those feelings and emotions and turn it into a positive so that you can help others. Because I believe that, you went through it for a reason. I believe God takes us through things. You can take that situation and turn it around into a positive, and you can bless a lot of people. I think for the success of anyone leaving prison, I think the key is to jump into a good church where they're really teaching the Bible, and jump into some real positive programs that help you to transition. It's so important. Your life depends on it. You gotta change. You gotta wanna change. You can change.